have a real good sense of humor, and you've already proven that, like 3 seconds in, so this should be a spirited conversation. Okay, so when you see yourself on the screen, I always am curious, there are some who can't look, some actors and actresses who can't look, some who are like critiquing. What do you think as you see that? I mean,
It's brutal, except I realize, I thought I'd be off stage during the retrospective, drinking wine, and you guys would just be here. But I'm also reminded of the extraordinary people I have worked with in my career. And of course, like I said, you never receive an award like this alone, and the remarkable talents I've had in my life, and they were up on the screen. It's painful for me to watch myself. I don't like looking at myself on camera, and I don't like watching myself work, but I do like watching other people, of course, the great people I've worked with, and I got to see just how beautiful these individuals are that I've worked with.
All right. Now, when did you first know you wanted to be an actress? You're obviously from New Orleans, as you just mentioned. Was it like high school or?
I did, well, junior high. I had a teacher in 8th grade, Ms. Morrison, and I took a speech class. And I prepared these speeches as though I was doing monologues, and she said, "You're an actress, and you should join the drama club." And I did, and it was the best thing I ever did. So I started acting at 12, 13 in junior high, and then went on to my high school in New Orleans, big public high school. I was a cheerleader and a chargerette. And seriously, if I had better underwear on, I would kick. But
we're not.
But anyway, I went to big public junior high and high school in New Orleans, but I had in 8th grade this remarkable woman get me into the drama school, and then I had this remarkable woman who ran the drama club in my high school, Mrs. East. And so it all started there.
And has it been one of the bigger challenges? You have obviously a very distinct accent, yet it is so flawlessly lost along the way in so many roles.
Well, I'll tell you. So I had the good fortune I went to LSU for 2 years, and I loved it. I was but I realized I wanted to go to New York. My parents, who did not have a lot of means, a lot of money, they said, "But listen, if you go to New York, you have to finish your bachelor's." So I transferred to Fordham. Long story, my aunt was dean of admissions of Loyola in New Orleans, and I had good enough grades, thank God. And I transferred to Fordham in New York, which was really one of the great decisions I made, because I met my really true big mentor in Joe Jazewski at Fordham. And so I went 2 years at Fordham, graduated. I went to Yale School of Drama for a master's for 3 years. And that, between Fordham and Yale, it gave me such an incredible foundation. And Fordham made me a leading lady, but Yale made me leading lady and character. You had to play against type. And that's what Earl Gister was famous for, who ran the theater department. I got to do crazy, wild things that I'd never done before. Because at Fordham I was doing Hedda Gabler and Betrayal and all of these, glamorous leading lady parts, but I got to Yale and I had to do crazy, wild stuff. And so that really shifted me as an actress. And that's where and then I graduated there in '85 and went to New York and started my career.
And for those who don't know in the audience, Yale is like the preeminent graduate theater program in the country.
It's a great program.
Were you there with any other now famous?
I was there with Mr. Big, Chris Noth. I was there with Dylan Baker, Jane Atkinson, who's on House of Cards. Yes, I was there with and Richard Greenberg, who's won 3 Tonys or something. I was there with great writers, directors, actors. It was a formidable group. So,
Oh, and by the way, why we should have had a House of Cards clip there.
I know.
It was like, that's one of my favorite.
I love House of Cards. I had an extraordinary time on House of Cards.
Yeah, I bet that was also somewhat interesting or challenging because the whole final season script had to be rewritten and thrown out because of Kevin Spacey.
We all showed up, and there was the glorious Robin Wright leading all of us and these great writers, and it ended up being an incredible last season.
Did your character change dramatically, or the arc of your character?
It changed slightly, but you know, everybody did. Everybody had to. Yeah.
Okay. Now, Clint Eastwood. You worked with him. What?
My second movie.
time.
I did The Untouchables, which was my first.
Right.
And then I went off to do Clint Eastwood. And Clint doesn't meet you. He only casts off tape, so I'd never met Clint when he cast me. And I went to San Francisco, was in a restaurant with the producer, the cinematographer, two producers and the cinematographer. And I'm sitting in the back of a restaurant in San Francisco, and I hear this cacophony. I hear this screaming of women. I think there was panties being thrown. I don't know. I mean, Clint was 58. I was 28. And from the back of the restaurant, I turn around, and there's Clint Eastwood walking in the restaurant to meet me. It was the craziest meeting, but yes, I did the last Dirty Harry, baby. You're here tonight with the last Dirty Harry, lady. All right? My hair was so big. Oh my God. Not that it's not big tonight, but it was so big. Anyway, I had, that was my second movie. I did Untouchables, and then I went to do Clint Eastwood.
Brian De Palma.
I did Brian De Palma,
who
was glorious, who taught me how to act on film. I'd never done a movie before The Untouchables, and Brian De Palma taught me how to act on film.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And you've worked with Scorsese for
Oh,
Sugar
yeah,
Island.
that little, so let me tell you, so this is, I get a call.
And Leo.
And Leo. So wait, I get a call that Martin Scorsese, Marty, I know him now, I call him Marty. And, you know, he's cast me in this part. It's one scene in a cave with Leo. And I've got all of this in my head. I'm in a cave with Leo. And I'm thinking, I'm in a cave with Leo. I could be like this. What am I gonna be in this? Because I hadn't read the part. I just knew the part was me in a cave with Leo. I look like a troll. I get there, they're like, oh no, Patty. We're putting you in a dark wig, and we're gonna do anti-makeup. I'm like, anti-makeup? No, we gotta take down, like, your skin's too nice. I was like, oh my God. Every day I get in the makeup chair, I'd be like this. Shit. But I got to do this remarkable scene with Leo in a cave. There was no sex, but there was something else.
And Leo was kind of glammed down too.
Oh, and Leo is a dreamboat. He's a total dreamboat and a consummate actor, and to be directed by Martin Scorsese is, you know, one of the highlights of your whole life. And he's everything you think he is, a glorious and generous. He loves actors. He just loves us, and it's apparent from the first moment you meet him throughout the shoot.
Is he remarkably different in style than Clint? Because I think of
Yes.
Clint as being, does not overthink anything. He just sort of, you know,
No.
kind of
Like, we'd do one take, and I had all the dialogue, and he'd say, that was good for me. And I'd say, what do you mean? He goes, I think we're moving on. I was like, moving on? I just said all those lines one time. He goes, I thought it was good. I was like, where's Marty? it's 50, you know, it's like, yeah, let's try again, let's try. Marty, you chewed all day on a line, like you know. But that's the beauty of our industry is everybody has their own footprint. Everybody has their own DNA. Everybody has their own journey that they take every single film, and everybody has their own way that will never change. I think most great directors, they have a vision, they have a timbre, they have a tone, and it never wavers. Go.
I know my question.
It's a good sign. So, yeah.
Let's talk about nudity. You have done. Whoops.
Oh, and that's right, we're in Miami. Let's talk about nudity.
Just no, for Mardi Gras. So, yeah. You've done it twice.
I've done some nudity, which is not great for my father. He's 83 now, but I was naked before he was. Anyway, you know, I think as long as it's integral, as long as it is very much a part of the scene, you know, all the cliches you hear, but I do think that it is true. And I do think that sometimes nudity is essential to take the character to a different place. And, you know, I come from a Southern family, by no means conservative, but I did grow up in New Orleans, and that's not really the South, but it's like Florida's not this, you know, Miami's like, you know, we're European, we're cool and cultured and hot and sexy. Is everybody in Miami gorgeous? Is that what happens? I looked out my window today, and everybody's in a bikini, like a bikini I didn't wear when I was like 12. But it, you know what I'm saying is, nudity is always difficult. It's never easy, and it shouldn't be easy. It should be essential, and that's I have made the decision at times to do some nudity, and the first time I was naked, I was with Sir Ben. I did call him Sir Ben. He wasn't as naked as I was.
Never, right?
Pardon?
Never, for it seems.
No, but I look. If you're gonna be naked, why not be with a sir? That's what I thought.
Or a Bradley Cooper.
Oh, I've been naked with Bradley. Yes. Trust me. No, I did Elephant Man on Broadway for many years. So we started at Williamstown, then we went to Broadway, we went to London. And yes, I had to be naked every night with Bradley Cooper. You know, we suffer for our industry. Yeehaw. All right.
So for you, high art was perhaps I would say a turning point in your career. Would you agree?
Very much so. So I had done some of these films, and you know, it's important to know is I hit a snag. In my early 30s, I was struggling, and I think it's just part of the fabric of our industry. I think every person in our industry has struggled at some point, whether it's the beginning, the middle, the end. Although sadly, we should never struggle at the end. As actors, we only get better. The muscle only gets more flexible and stronger as we act. We should work more as we age, not less. And I think that's shifting very much so in our industry right now, in particular for women and women of color. And so, but I hit a kind of a roadblock in my early 30s. I struggled, and then suddenly I was offered this stunning part. Well, I saw the part in high art, and to play a German lesbian heroine addict. I'm not German, sadly I'm not lesbian, and I've never done drugs, okay? And so I was in Los Angeles at the time. I flew back and I read for the great Lisa Cholodenko, and she cast me. She saw that I understood Greta. I understood this character in my soul. I might not be the externals, but my heart and soul were in this part. And it changed my life. And it just takes one part for any actors here tonight. It often is just that one part, that one director who looks inside and sees you, sees that you are capable of something even that is surprising to you. Even though I knew when I went to read for Greta, I knew it was in me. But that one part shifted my whole career, because suddenly the industry saw me no longer, not, God knows I played a lot of mothers and I will probably continue, but that one part shifted the whole paradigm. It shifted the whole perception of me in this industry. People thought I was a real heroin addict. They thought I was German. They you know, and it was such a strange moment in my life. I had so many calls from extraordinary actors and directors, and it just takes one. But this leads me, I have to tell you my favorite story in my whole life. So my great Aunt Patsy, my namesake, who was 80 years old, and my mother took her to see high art in New Orleans. I said, Mother, you took Aunt Patsy to see high art in New Orleans? She was like, oh, Patty, she loved it. She's gonna call you tomorrow. I was like, oh my God, you sure? Oh my God, oh my God. So the next day she calls me, she's like, Patty, if a director told me I had to play a German, lesbian, heroin addict, I would have told that director I can play one of the three. That's my Aunt Patsy.
That's awesome.
But it did change my life.
Sharp Objects. I read the book, and I remember when you were cast thinking, this is the most perfect casting, because it was...
I don't know what that says about me.
I don't want to give any spoilers, but it was like, it was almost like that book was written kind of for you, or I mean, not in, yeah, I don't know, like, but it just was, and what a tremendous job you've done.
Thank you. I got on the phone with Gillian Flynn and Marty Noxon. But the great Amy Adams really wanted me for this. And you always have to give credit where credit is due.
So she pushed for you.
She said the only person who can do this is and I knew her somewhat socially. She has a beautiful husband, and I had seen them at soirees and things. And so she had said the only person that should do this and must do this is Patty. And so they got on the phone with me, and I spoke with them, with Gillian, and she said, oh my God, Patty, you sound like my grandmother. Her grandmother from Missouri, but that it's Missouri, where Missouri and Tennessee meet, and it's a very specific tone and timbre, which is New Orleanian, because New Orleanian is not a drawl, it's a harder sound. It's a very specific sound, New Orleans, and it meets where that junction. And so I had this remarkable talk with Gillian, the great Gillian Flynn, and Marty Noxon, and we talked about Adora. Oh my God. It was, I will say, it was one of the roughest. It was honestly probably up there as maybe the most difficult, or one of the most difficult characters I've ever had to take on. First of all, it was
Because
8.
she's so complicated.
She's, yes, but I had to love her.
Yeah, and she's not easy.
I had to. I know other people might not, but I do believe as actors, our best portrayals come from some part of us. They come from even the worst parts of us.